right, welcome everybody to the Beer and Skittles podcast. This week we are going to do a concept episode that we've done before in the past. We did it with our comedy blank check. We want to do an action movie blank check episode this week, where we're going to do this one a little bit differently. With the comedy one, we both had a full idea and cast and director for our own comedy movies, and they were both pretty different. On this one, we're going to collectively make an action movie. We both have lists of actors and directors and stuff, and we're going to kind of try to formulate a plot of what kind of action movie will we make. Originally, I think the idea came from just like Expendables, Sylvester Stallone coming together and saying, you know what, we're going to make an action movie with just a bunch of action stars that you haven't seen in a while, and and I think was a hit. I mean, we've gotten 4 movies out of the franchise.
But, I mean, also thinking about the Expendables is that the point of that was for older action stars.
Yes.
Same thing with, was it Red?
Red was, with Bruce Willis. Yep.
With Bruce Willis. Same concept with Red. We don't want just older action stars. We want just the movie that we want to see and that we think everybody wants to see. So, hopefully, we're trying to get a mix of generations here. And see really if we can just come up with something that is not only fun to watch, not only has great fight sequences and great action and has the special effects to match, but also has a great plot and something that is, worth watching, which sometimes get lost in action movies nowadays. So, let's jump down this rabbit hole and see what we can come up with.
I think one of the things I want to do too is with having the 2 different generations of cast is also this bit of nostalgia when watching the action movies. I think that's always it's what gets you to keep going and watching the same action stars. You watch Bruce Willis and you keep watching all these Bruce Willis movies because it's nostalgic watching him be Bruce Willis, like watching the Die Hard movies. There's the Lethal Weapon movies. There's this bit of nostalgia there when you go back and you see a completely different movie, but it's Jet Li and something, but also ushering kind of the new guard and a fresh plot, as well as leaning into that nostalgia of kind of seeing some of these older guys.
Yeah, and the difference between this and the comedy one is that you're going to see more of our process in figuring it out, because we didn't prep as good for this one. So you're going to see us figured out right in front of your eyes. So to start off, you want to do actors, plot, director? What do you want to start out with? What do you think should be the first hoop we should jump through?
Maybe let's hit plot first, because that might help us narrow down our list of actors, and then who's directing this.
So I know you're thinking about an inspiration, as you're mentioning earlier, what movie that you want to take inspo for.
So I think one of the things I want to look at is I want a globe-trotting kind of adventure. I think the action movies that kind of different locations and settings can be fun, and it gives us a variety there of things to do with these actors and also the action sequences we're doing. So if we're in a city, it's close quarters, stuff like that. Whereas then we're out in, but even the cities can change. If we go from London to New York or Rome, and stuff like that, the cities are very different.
Because we were both thinking ensemble cast, so we can following each character separately,
and I think
in getting their own background.
I think we can kind of follow them as we bring them together. One of my favorite action movies, and a movie that I recommend to everybody if you haven't seen it, is Seven Samurai. Akira Kurosawa was a masterful director. He inspired a ton of directors. He inspired George Lucas when he made Star Wars. But Seven Samurai is such a good movie. It's very long, but I think it keeps your attention. It's enthralling. And you watch them bring together the Seven Samurai and bringing these characters together and why, what is the reason, and what's their motivation for helping this village, and convincing some of them because they don't want to do it. And then when the action hits in the second half of that movie, when the invaders come in or whatever, and they start protecting, you're so invested in these characters and you're really rooting for them. So I think we can do something similar if we are following multiple characters, and then as we bring them together, from this bigger, it allows us to then go personal and smaller with our second half and our climax of it's more personal and it is smaller and like we're going from big to small to drive home that point.
Yeah. I know for me personally, when I was thinking about this, it was kind of like almost like James Bond meets The Expendables.
Yeah.
It's where we have this big bad meets big bad, and it's a whole top secret mission type of deal, but we want an ensemble cast on it. For me personally, so I want big bad, like I want the tropes of he has henchmen and there's these like grand fight scenes, but there's also like these almost heist element to it too. Like there's all these kind of secret operatives. We're not going into, which I know that's not what you're going with when you say Seven Samurai, but we're not going into like this old Japanese type of martial arts film, but we're going more into like this thrilling action adventure.
Yeah.
Kind of like,
and I think even having some fun with it too, of like even like putting together the team. I imagine less action, but I imagine like the Ocean's movies, or even like Now You See Me. When we're like in the aspect of showing all of these people like
individuals. And then making them a team. Not that they are a team, but they're made.
And some of them may have been a team. Like some of these older
There
guys
can be
could have
past.
worked together.
There
Yeah,
can be a history.
yeah, exactly. And then we're bringing in these new people, but you have like the old guard that's there, and even some of like with the villain role, we can even have like, oh, this is like, why is he doing things like that? Like if the villain is older, and it's like, why the young kids are like, why would he think that way? Like why would he do things that way? It's like, oh, kid, you don't understand. That's the way I don't know why I turned into Stallone, but
we're not
Kid,
casting
you're-
Stallone.
kid, you don't understand. That's just the way it was.
You need a little more in there, but so we're on the same page of that. We want an older good guy to form the team and an older bad guy to kind of be the opposition, and then maybe have people under him as well to be the opposing.
And you know what?
people.
We might even the younger villain, even him taking over fully, like taking.
What do you want?
Yeah,
you want to do older villain or you want to do younger villain? Like the main one.
Oh, the main villain. Maybe the younger guy, he steps in like, listen, old man, this doesn't work. This ain't your day anymore, And he's taught him everything he knows, and like the student has surpassed the master, and maybe he kills the villain. You know what I mean? He kills
So
him.
you're saying maybe starting off with our older hero, and then maybe seeing that twist in there where someone else is really going to be pulling the strings at the end of the day. Okay, so
Whereas you would initially think it'd be the opposite, right? You'd think the older guy is pulling the strings as these young people are running around and doing everything, and in reality, young kid's been just working behind the scenes of like, nope, this is mine.
Let's work with this then. All right, so we have our not our main protagonist, because they will be more behind the scenes, but the guy that gets the team together on the good guy side will need, one person. You're thinking multiple people.
Maybe if it's two, we need a person in the chair. We need a tech person that's helping them put together. You know what I mean? Like a Barbara Gordon. You know what I mean? That person that's like, like, so somebody like that.
Like you need your Nick Fury and you need your Phil Coulson. Like
Exactly.
Maybe like
Yeah.
like
We have the
one
person-
is in charge, but the other person's right by their side.
Yeah, and so
Okay,
when
I
we
can-
are
I can-
hearing them, they're in his ear, like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, no, I'm here, I'm talking to them now, and it's like, well, you got this incoming, like, you know what I mean? Like, we need somebody else that's also.
Okay. All right, I can get on board with that. So for my pitch for our person that brings them all together, I picked Denzel Washington. Now, for someone, he's back in the day was an action star. Still, I mean, just this past year did another Equalizer. You know, I mean, but you're talking about Training Day, Equalizer. Like he's no scrub, man. I mean,
no,
it's the one that he did Two Guns with Mark Wahlberg.
Two Guns, yeah.
So even his older age, he's doing it, but not the guy we're really looking for in action sequences in this day and age. So I think he's a cool guy to bring in, good callback, but also he's not like, not that any of these guys are bad. Don't get me wrong, but he's not Willis and he's not Stallone and like he's not Schwarzenegger. Denzel is the apex when it comes to acting, so he can deliver us some greatness on screen. So that's why he is my pick for the guy to bring them all together. What's yours?
I kind of like, and I'm a little biased. I'm a little biased just because there's the new Godzilla show that's out with Kurt Russell. And it's been a while, but I love love Kurt Russell. He's such a fun actor, and he can do it. And he's older, but like he seems wise. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can see him being like the dad of this group, kind of talking to them. Honestly, I could even see him having been somebody that worked with Denzel in the past. Almost like like years later, you like revisiting Lethal Weapon, if you were to like Mel Gibson and Danny Glover type of deal. Like, they were partners back in the day. I could definitely see.
Well, so here my pitch. So since you bring that up, this is what's now running through my head. So if I use our main guy as Denzel, right?
Yep.
But we bring in at some point, say our team is in a bit of trouble in a place, almost like we're talking Pulp Fiction. Like, I got a partner that lives here. Like,
It's almost like
I need to call it back
Expendables 2
up.
when there's that scene when they're like gunned down and Chuck Norris just comes up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But it's also, they played into that trope of Chuck Norris being this legend.
Yeah.
You know, like, he's just this like mythological person in action movies of like, yeah, Chuck Norris got bit by a snake and 3 days later the snake died. Like, you know, like they really played up that trope, which was fun. But I get what you're saying, like bringing in
Like maybe him coming in maybe mid-movie, they're in a bit of trouble, they can't really get out of it, and he's like, either like he sends them to him because they need a place to stow away, which can then bring you some powerful scenes between Denzel and Russell, you know, so that could be like a cool dynamic too, or it could be just like they're in trouble and you see him come in, because I think he might be a little more suited for action still than Denzel is.
Yeah, I think so.
So like he could be somebody that comes in and mentors them out in the field. Like, is that what this fucker told you to do that? No, you don't. Like,
you're still running those same games. You're still running the same, like, and Denzel, he's slick. So I could definitely,
I could see
the banter. Yeah. Who do we have on this team? Who are we putting together?
Okay, so you're talking Seven Samurai style. So you're talking finding people, running through them individually, and like giving their backstory and bringing them on a journey together. Which their journey together is going to be a pathway carved by our main good guy.
Yep.
Our older good guy. So I think we need a number, because we can get real carried away naming a lot of people. And we'll name a lot of people, but we're going to narrow this down based on what kind of archetypes we want, type of people we want, kind of vibe that we're going for on a team. But like, our number needs to be like 5.
Not including the two that we...
Not including the older guys. No,
the older
these
two.
are the guys that are like in the action formed together for the team.
Okay.
Do you think you could do 5, or are you gonna?
I think it's gonna be hard with 5. I can, but it's gonna be
But
hard
also
because of the
we're also
older.
gonna need villains too. So like, there's some guys that you might think might be better suited to play the opposition.
Yeah. So if we do 5, it's gonna be it's tough, because even some of these older actors, they could be working with the villain.
Yeah, but I'm saying for our protagonists, for our ensemble cast of the
Possibly. I think we can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we can do that. Let's go with that. And then, because I'll name off some people, and if you think they're better fitted for a villain, we'll just switch their side.
Yeah,
and then
I have some people that I think
you mentioned who you want as your main villain, and I agree, or one of them. If it's
the same person.
yeah. So,
So let's throw out some names that you're thinking of for our good guys.
okay. There are 2 people that actually, they usually always play good guys, and I kind of want to see them as bad guys, so I'm gonna save those.
Okay.
For some good guys, John Bernthal.
I'm on board. I'm very much on board. I brought them on my list as well. You know, I mean, we can always change these, but so far I think we slot him in this team, especially because, again, like, we're not going for like the old Japanese style of things, so we're going like bringing him in, like, it's almost cliche at this point because of how much he does it. Bringing him in as like this military type. I mean, he plays it fucking perfectly. Like, it's a little bit of typecasting, but God, he's the right fucking type to do it. You know.
Yeah.
So that grittiness, that like spits on the ground type of guy, like just masculine, gritty.
Yeah.
I've killed so many people.
But I think a lot of people want to put him as the villain because he's good at playing that dark, gritty. But like, no, but he can be a hero. He can be the good guy.
Yeah.
He can be. Doesn't have to be.
I think he's the rough around the edges good guy. You know, like
Yeah.
he's the guy. He's like, yeah, I'm doing the right thing, but fuck you. You know,
Yeah.
like just
Yeah, but deep down too, you know, like he's doing this, and he's the type of he's the character that he's gonna give you a hard time, but he's gonna do it anyway, and he's the first one who's gonna throw himself in front of the bullet. He's gonna sacrifice himself to save somebody else, but he's been a dickhead to you the whole time.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm on board with John Bernthal. Okay, this one. I think he might be a little older than what we're looking for on this team.
okay.
You know, maybe we could find him somewhere else. And you might have him listed too. But I thought about Reeves. You can't think about this
So this
masterpiece film without Reeves.
I was honestly thinking of putting him in a villain role. We always see him
and
as the hero.
I'm not mad about that. If you look at Reeves' look nowadays, he could play.
He could.
He could play.
Think about it. He's your hero.
Like
he's Neo. He's the one. He's always your hero. He's John Wick. He's the hero. I would love to see him play this evil person that can kick ass. You know what I mean?
Back burner. We'll back burner him for later on. Who do you want to pitch next?
I have a younger pick that I think could be good. I've loved this actor for a very long time, and I don't think he gets enough credit. And I think he could fill a void because, listen, we're doing an ensemble cast, and I know that this isn't a big part of it, but budget, even though it's a blank check. But if we had all these big names, Dylan O'Brien. He did American Sniper with Keaton. And he did... Actually, can you pull up the cast list for American Sniper for me? O'Brien is great in that. He did The Maze Runners, which he's funny. And he also just did that movie with... not just did, but on Paramount, Infinity, with Mark Wahlberg.
Sienna Miller.
Oh, did I say American Sniper?
Yeah.
American Assassin.
Yeah.
That's the one. Yeah, American Assassin. The villain in that would be a good... Yeah. Taylor Hirsch.
Mm-hmm.
He's another good one. He's done a ton of action movies. Battleship? Was he in that?
I believe so.
Yeah. But I think O'Brien, he's younger. I could definitely see him having been mentored by one of these guys already. You know what I mean? And then he's our new guy. He's our first on the team. And he's eager. He's eager to be there.
Like almost like your Matt Damon in Oceans.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And you know what? Maybe he's already been mentored by Kurt Russell. You know? And then when Denzel's like, oh yeah, we're gonna go back with, maybe he doesn't even know that they know each other. Because now he was mentored by Russell when he started out. Now he's working with, because that's the other thing. The action movies, especially good ones, look, there's quite a bit of comedy that exists in them. Of that it's fun. It brings light to all the heavy action and stuff, and then you get a good laugh, and then you watch them kick some more ass.
So, I like it. I don't know if I'm ready to throw them in yet.
Okay,
but I can see where you're coming from. I'm on board. I think it's time that we throw a woman in the mix.
I have quite a few,
and my pitch is Zoe Saldana.
I love Zoe Saldana as a hero. Yeah, absolutely.
To me, for the team that we're trying to build,
yep.
I think there's only two women that I saw in the role. I lean towards Zoe Saldana, but between her and Michelle Rodriguez, I think are the right people
Michelle
to insert on the team where you get because they're believable badass women.
Yeah,
there are women that have done action movies and they do great jobs. If you want but they play a badass woman and I believe them. I look at them and I say, yeah, you might have been in the military.
I'll tell you what,
but
I can almost guarantee Michelle Rodriguez is a sweetheart. But I also, having grown up watching her, I wouldn't fuck with her.
I'd be afraid of
I would be, yeah, no, absolutely not. I'm afraid to say the wrong thing. She might kick my ass. I love Zoe Saldana. I think that's a good pick. Um, and Michelle Rodriguez is another great choice. I want to go a different direction
Okay.
for a female. Haven't seen her do anything in a while, but she's been doing it a long time. Mila Jovovich, who I think, look, Fifth Element, she started, and all the Resident Evil movies. She's done. She just did Monster Hunter, actually, a
Okay.
couple years back. So she's got the action movies behind her. She can do it, and we could definitely have her be, our like Russian agent or something, or again, we gotta, because we're thinking, we're pulling, we're going around different places.
We also need to fill in some tropes here as well. I mean, a good action movie plays to its tropes. I believe. So like when we're thinking of these characters, we're not just thinking of who are the most badass people we can find. It's like, oh, like who could we like fill in to like be more of like, who's our explosives guy? Like who's the person that's like.
And I think a lot of people you've already seen. We know that I could see her being this like spy, that does kick ass. We've seen in Black Widow. We've seen this trope done a million times, and I think she's already an established action star. She's kind of been out of the game for a little bit, but we could definitely bring her in and have her retake on this like, oh yeah, you need my help, I think she's got enough of the fast wit too of like, oh, you need my help. Like she's having this conversation as she's currently like mid. Like her own job that she's already running, and it's like, yeah. Oh, hold on, let me get back to you. Like, give me a second. Another female I had was Angelina.
No, I can't get on board with it. To me, she doesn't fit the bill of what we're doing.
Salt. Oh, I love Salt. Love Salt so much. She did her all her own stuff. Angelina, man. But she's. I can also see that.
I feel like she doesn't fit the bill of what we're going for.
What if she's our person in the chair?
I wouldn't be mad at that. Having her next to Denzel, that's a fun one. That's
in his ear the entire time. But she's done this before. Like she's not obviously like, maybe she's like, yeah, oh yeah, no, I don't do that. I don't go to the field anymore. She's not in the field. She's she's behind.
And maybe at something give her a moment.
Maybe you give her one moment, yeah.
Like she might have a moment, where like HQ gets ran over.
Oh, 100.
Like,
yeah, they attack.
Like,
yep.
You got the pistol under the desk.
Like, you get a nice little quick payoff of having her there. Yeah.
Okay, no, I can see that. I could definitely run her in there. And
she's young enough. I mean, she still looks great. You know what I mean? She's not.
I'm not.
No. But I mean, like, so she's not. Like, it's not crazy that like, oh, she's still running it, but she has ears everywhere. She's been doing. She's got the look where it's like, okay, she's mature enough that she's clearly done this, but she's not like retirement age either. Where I have some actresses that I love that clearly they've been in the industry a long time. Linda Hamilton, who did Terminator, Sigourney Weaver, who did Alien and Ghostbusters, and they're both great action stars. Very established and like probably like retired, almost like a Red. You get these retired.
Yeah. But that's not really what we're going for. We still want the young guns kind of running.
Even some of these people, I could see them being parents of, like, if we were going kind of that route, like somebody like, if again, I know you're not sold on it, but hear me out. Dylan O'Brien.
Well, no, that's what I was about to say. So, what if instead of just mentee, mentor, you put him as a child of Russell, but I mean, then she could also be the mom. So there's not just a history of Denzel and Russell. Like he split off. Like there's a trio going on here. Like it can bring some other inside.
Yeah.
Inside.
So we can bring in Linda Hamilton or Sigourney Weaver or Even both of them, they could both be related to somebody down the line. Even somebody in early 2000s action star who's slightly had a reemergence in movies is Brendan Fraser, who I love Brendan Fraser. Even Rachel Weisz, who's in she played the mom in Black Widow recently, and just the last one. She was the wife in the Mummy movies. Both really good. But they haven't done action. I mean, she just did Black Widow, so she's like back in that. But she hadn't done action in a while. Yeah. Brendan Fraser is now back doing movies, but he hasn't done an action movie yet. I would love to see, even if he was like the dad of somebody, you know what I mean? Like, and again, even small moments of like the nostalgia of the payoff of like, yeah, we have, Angelina, we have, Linda Hamilton, and she just, we see a quick like, oh, they still got it. Or they did, like, oh, I wouldn't mess with them. Give people that same sense of, like, Michelle Rodriguez of, like, I wouldn't mess with that person if I saw them. But, like, even though that, they're not doing this anymore, it's still, you get that whole Red storyline.
All right. So, we've been having a lot of conversations. I'm going to throw out a couple.
All right.
So we can keep this moving. We can move on to our bad guy figure out our plot, and hopefully, within an hour's time, get these people a movie plot. So I have down. I think the team needs some muscle, and out of all the muscly guys out there, pause. Out of all the muscly guys out there,
I'm gonna replace your person, but go ahead. I already feel like I know who you're gonna say, and I have a replacement.
I think the best actor to date that we're seeing is John Cena.
Yes, but after having seen, and I know it's not the best movie, but after having seen the last Fast and Furious, Jason Momoa knows how to have fun when he's given the chance.
He knows how to have fun all the time.
No,
have you seen that guy in real life?
But like, exactly. No, he does. Did you watch the last Fast and Furious movie? His villain is so over the top. And like, but I could see him being. Remember in Expendables 1, you have Mickey Rourke for like just one scene. He's running the tattoo shop and he's a biker. I could definitely see Momoa being that like laid back. He's our muscle guy, and but he's a goofball. Like, let Jason Momoa be a goofball as our muscle guy. Not dumb, but he's just like.
But I think John Cena's also shown you that he can be a goofball. He's done a lot of comedy movies.
Did you see Vacation Friends?
Yes,
hilarious. Yeah,
see they made a sequel.
Yes. Hilarious. But he also has the acting chops. I mean, his scene.
I mean, I think he has the ability to bring out emotion. I mean, I'm pretty sure you're gonna say Peacemaker.
Suicide Squad. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Even the life of a hero like yours. Also, that scene is just.
I can say John Cena is the epitome of a good guy. I mean, like.
Yeah. No, he is.
He is known as like the nicest guy ever in the entire world, and so he always got picked up like comedy and hero roles before Suicide Squad. Well, not before Suicide. Before Bumblebee.
Yeah.
Bumblebee is when John Cena really impressed me, because before it was like, okay, The Rock was the guy that came out of the WWE and like he's killing it, but to me, like The Rock's good. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
The Rock can do the.
No, The Rock is good, but he's The Rock.
He is The Rock. 24/7, he is The Rock. No matter what role he's in, he's The Rock. John Cena showed to me in Bumblebee when he picked up a villain role, and that he had the chops.
And that's what he.
To be even
that's what he. And you're convinced. You've kind of convinced, but I love seeing him as Peacemaker in Suicide Squad. He against all of these big name actors who are bringing their A game. You have Viola Davis. You have Margot Robbie at that point is huge. You have Idris Elba.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then John Cena. And it's like, what's this wrestling guy going to do? And he has some of the best scenes in that movie.
Yeah.
And just phenomenal performance. If that's your case, then I'm moving one of my people over to villain role. But I think he always plays the hero too because he's big. The big guys, they play the hero. They're the lead, right? You're the Rock. They're because they're gonna kick ass. So they're carrying the movie.
So who else do I got in here? I threw this guy in. I fucking love him. One of my favorite actors. Actually, I think he's severely underrated. It's giant category when it comes to action. And I think he might do good as the leader in the field.
Okay.
Mark Wahlberg.
I think I might replace Wahlberg with Damon.
Okay,
I think
I can hear this out.
Damon has he's able to do a serious. Not to say that Wahlberg can't, but I feel like Wahlberg suffers from being Wahlberg.
Mm.
You know, like you watch it, it's like watching The Rock. Like the Wahlberg is Wahlberg. Not that it's bad, but like The Departed, right? Wahlberg is Wahlberg in that, but Damon is fantastic, and he's not the same in every role. Then you watch the Bourne movies; he's a completely different person. You watch, The Martian. It's not an action movie, but you know what I mean. But like Damon has this range that I don't necessarily think Wahlberg has.
I can see the case. I wouldn't be mad with inserting Damon instead of Wahlberg as your field leader. Because I mean, any ensemble cast has a main character.
Yeah.
There's always one that's more important than the rest, and we also have to kind of distinguish that. And I think that's what we're looking for here in that leadership role is whoever's going to be the guy that's going to get the most screen time.
Yeah.
Like they're all going to get a lot because it's an ensemble, but who's going to get the most? Someone else I had in here was Scott Eastwood.
Scott Eastwood's a good pick.
He's great. I mean, he's someone that's not gonna. I mean, again, it's money's not an option, but he's not gonna run you as much money as some of these other guys we were naming. He's bona fide action. Like he comes from action. Like that's his entire legacy. He's a great actor. He's young. He fits the bill. He looks the part. You know, just a like rugged, tough looking guy. Like that just seems like And I think he's got range. I mean, he's done everything from romance to action. So.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think he's a good.
I can see that, and I think we're going away from because you look at Hollywood. If Hollywood was doing this movie themselves, their top picks would be. And there's nothing against these actors because I love them. Tom Holland and Timothée Chalamet, which they're great actors. I
don't believe in this kind of role. Like as Spider-Man, he's cool because he has superpowers, and in Dune, he's cool because it's all this futuristic tech and sci-fi.
But that's why I'm thinking Dylan O'Brien's a great pick. He did the Maze Runner. It is sci-fi, but it's more. Grounded, it's like the Hunger Games, it's got this but he's done American Assassin, he's done he's also hilarious, he's done Teen Wolf, he can do serious because he played a villain in one season, but he's also hilarious.
Well, so like say if you have Scott Eastwood and you have Dylan O'Brien, it could be an interesting dynamic on a team to where you're saying if Dylan is a legacy, and Scott is like, I fucking worked. Yeah, I did the shit. Like these two young guns that are like, well, what? Yeah, like
I was born into this.
Yeah, you were born into this. I fucking worked for this. And to me, the look of those characters, because Dylan looks like this clean, nice, like proper kind of guy. Scott looks like a rugged kid that you found on a farm. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and they're about the same age, I would guess.
Yeah.
So I think that could be fun. Now I'll let you run through throwing out some names because I just threw out a couple.
Charlize Theron, also Old Guard, and I know we just keep name dropping these action. But Old Guard is such a good fucking movie, and she's fantastic. But she also did Mad Max, which was great.
I wouldn't be mad at her either. Actually.
Atomic Blonde, she's done. She's a great action star, and she's believable, and she can. Oh, and she's in the Fast and Furious. She plays a great bad guy, but she also plays a really hard
I would put her in the running for the women in the field. When it comes down to her, Rodriguez, and
Zoe Saldana.
Yeah, I think those three would be the running for that spot team, and I don't think anybody else could insert in there. To be honest,
yeah,
the other people you named, I think, are just older. They don't fit the bill. Like they don't. The looks aren't correct. But she is also like you look at her, like she looks badass. Like she has that tough, rugged exterior where you feel like she could kick some ass and you believe.
I think a female mentor too that we could have. And she's had a huge resurgence, is Michelle Yeoh. She was in Everything Everywhere All at Once. And, I mean, she won an Oscar for that movie. And she's phenomenal. She's worked with Jackie Chan. She's worked with all these people. She's does her own stunts. She's very well known in the industry as far as action movies go. So I think she would be a great fit. Even if it's a role that it's like they've gone to her for help, or like she's, you know what I mean? Like they stop. Not necessarily on the team.
If you put her maybe in the chair, right? But then you maybe put Angelina with Russell, kind of like like they're still together, parent tandem duo.
Yeah,
Maybe Dylan O'Brien's parents,
maybe.
and that's where they got the pickup from, and that's where you get some family drama dynamic as well.
Yeah, yeah. I think either of those work. Even um, the parent. I think definitely that parent relationship can definitely be a very fun way, especially then. Even if we're talking about, you know, Eastwood looks at O'Brien like, "Oh, you were born into this," but then when let's say Eastwood meets Dylan's family, and he realizes like, oh, like you didn't grow up, like it wasn't as easy. You know what I mean? Like Russell's hard on him, and he grew up training and whatever. And it's like, yeah, you started doing this. This is the light, but I've been doing it since birth. Yeah, you were right. I was born into it. From day one, I've been doing this. You know what I mean?
So I'm making up. Let's see a list here. So I think we're pretty sold that we're putting the person in the chair in a female role,
Yeah,
right? Okay. And are you in agreement, Denzel, Captain?
I think so.
So we got Denzel. Who are you thinking for the chair? Do you want to go Wu? Or do you have other people in mind that you'd rather throw the hat in the ring?
You know who might be good in the chair and then like a badass fight scene when like they break in is Denai Guerrera from The Walking Dead. She played Michonne.
The good one.
Yeah. And I mean, and she's also big. She was Wakanda forever and everything. Like she can kick ass. She can kick some serious ass. I could see her giving orders, similar to a role like Viola Davis has as Amanda Waller. But then we see her kick some serious ass later on. Could be another good one.
So I'm gonna leave it up. I'm gonna leave this part up to you because I basically I decided the captain. So who is your final pick? Girl in the chair.
I want to do Angelina.
You want to do Angelina?
I'll go with my first choice. Yeah, and then parents for O'Brien. We're gonna do a Kurt Russell, right? And Sigourney Weaver.
It's a good one.
I think Sigourney Weaver's a more believable than Linda Hamilton might be. And I think she's done more range.
I think a little younger looking. Still looks more rugged to the point where she would go with Russell. In the part that we're depicting, where they come in like they're not like Denzel, where he seems all set up and good and nice.
Yeah,
they're more,
yeah,
tough about things. All right, so now we have 5
in the field. So
5 in the field. Is there any other people you want to throw in the ring for in the field?
So we had what? We threw out Mila Jovovich. We threw out Saldana, Charlize Theron, Michelle Rodriguez, if we wanted. We had John Bernthal. We had Matt Damon, Scott Eastwood, as well as O'Brien. He's more of our young guard.
Which I think, do we want to lock in Bernthal?
Yeah, I think we can lock in Bernthal.
Okay. So do we want to, are you thinking Bernthal as a captain? Or are you thinking Bernthal, like, do you think he is our primary guy? Or do you want him more in a different archetype? Because he could fit that bill too.
He could.
He can fit that bill too.
He could. But you're saying the opposite O'Brien, like instead of Eastwood?
No. Oh. I'm saying because like we're saying we're gonna have our leader in the field, which I know we talked about.
You talked about Wahlberg.
Wahlberg and
yeah. Damon. No, I could see. You know what? I can see.
Or because you could also, I think Bernthal has some range where you don't have to have him as like the leading man. He can do a lot.
Oh no, he can do.
He can do a lot.
Amazing as supporting.
So
yeah,
would you rather him supporting, or do you think of him as the leader type? Because he also just ran through my mind as someone that could possibly do it. Because he could also be like tortured soul of the group type of deal. Like he's the because you've seen him deliver emotion.
Oh yeah,
screaming emotion, like rugged
Punisher courtroom scene. Yeah, I did it. I loved it. Yeah. Even what?
Him back in Walking Dead when he talks to Rick. I thought you were dead.
Yeah.
Things.
You know what? Then let's put him as our like tortured soul character. That's kind of. I think also we have our 5, but some of these other people we've listed.
They can fit in other places, and I know.
I think that's because especially if we're starting by globe-trotting to these different locations, Michelle Yeoh is helping them run a mission somewhere else. We can have Momoa helping do a job somewhere. Like, you know what I mean? He's a different.
You're saying again. So you want to try to use that Seven Samurais format. All these people have to come from somewhere.
Correct, and they're not by themselves either in these other places or
No.
whatever. So even Michelle Rodriguez can be here in a different part, but that doesn't mean she's part of the team. You know what I mean? And again, if this was something like Expendables and you blow it up, it becomes a franchise. You have all these other people that you can pull on at any point. It's like Bruce Willis was in the first Expendables in a very, very minor role, and his character was expanded upon in later movies. We can do the same thing here. So, yeah. So we have Bernthal as our like tortured soul. So
We're in Dylan, right?
yep. And I think you're right. I think Eastwood's a good counter.
Now we need our leader and a female in the group.
I think Zoe Saldana.
You want to go with Zoe
Yeah.
and Dame for leader.
Yeah.
So now we have our good guys. We have Denzel being our captain, our woman in the chair, Angelina, parents of Dylan O'Brien, Kurt Russell, Sigourney Weaver,
Yep.
our captain, Matt Damon, Captain Matt Damon, Tortured Soul, John Bernthal, legacy character, Dylan O'Brien, young gun in training, Scott Eastwood,
Yep.
and our woman in the group, certified badass, Zoe Saldana. Sound good? Sounds
good so far.
Good ensemble so far. So
Villains. Let's run through some villains, I think. Charlize Theron, again, that's another name. I think she can play a badass villain.
well, and I think we're on agreement for what we said.
Our main villain, Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig. Okay.
Yeah.
So, everybody knows Daniel Craig from being able to play in the 007 universe. But we think, he's a serious fucking actor.
He is. He's got the chops.
You've seen him in like Knives Out where he can like joke around and stuff like that. But
He's
like
got
when
the chops.
he can put on that scowl
Yeah.
and just deliver a line, which to me, was great when, you are playing 007. But, you can do that as a villain, because that just happens to be a stone cold character that is a hero. Most of your villains are going to be more stone cold, and I would love to see him deliver some kind of menacing monologue.
Now, is he our older villain?
That I was thinking for him to be the older one, yes.
So, and I think that's perfect. I think that works. Some people that I think, and not necessarily for our younger villain, but some people that could be working for him, right? You got to have other people in the group that are also out there running with him.
Of course.
Jet Li's an older actor that I could definitely see him having ties with. But one of my top picks would be Gerard Butler.
Okay.
Gerard Butler plays a badass, hard ass Den of Thieves. He plays the good guy. He's the cop in that, the detective, but he's an asshole. And Gerard Butler, he's also played a great villain, law-abiding citizen. He's a phenomenal villain. I could definitely see him being part of this team of, he's a soldier that works with him. And maybe he's worked with him for a while.
It's also another thing we mentioned before, saying that our big bad might not be the big bad at the end of the movie. Who are you thinking for a younger person that might have the chops to take over Daniel Craig's role? Because if you come in hot with a good villain, you can't replace them with a worse one. This isn't Iron Man 3.
Yeah, no. It's gotta be somebody.
Gotta top Daniel Craig.
It's gotta be somebody.
How do you top Daniel Craig?
You don't top Daniel. Don't top Daniel Craig. No, not at all. That's James Bond. Tops you, shaken, not stirred. That's a tough one. Part of me wants to say Charlize Theron, but I feel like we kind of already seen that in Fast and Furious with her. But she's definitely got the chops to do it because she has that. When she gets serious, she's got the same thing that Craig has. And I can almost see him having mentored her into having that look. So part of me wants to do that. Again, it plays on the nostalgia. We know her to be this character, to yeah, she can kind of take over, and she's also, I can see her having the smarts behind the scenes of like the same level of smarts that Angelina has. So she kind of comes in and then does both. She's both Angelina and Denzel. Like, she's in the field and she's behind the scenes. She can do it all, and that's what allows her to then take over from Craig and like upstage him.
I'm down for it to have Charlize as the captain of, or the field leader that eventually takes over.
That eventually, yeah, just like, this is my show.
We have her in. So if we want to follow the same formula and run a 5-man team of the villains, I mean, we could also run less because, you know, I think it's more like a, you know, you show the villains to be superior, bigger, badder guys, you know, whatever that, you know, the good guys have to overcome. So you also don't need, you know, all 5 if we don't need to. But I put 5 because we shouldn't exceed that either.
Yeah.
But we have Charlize in as our number 1, and I think she at least needs 2 more.
I think Gerard Butler's a good choice. I have Cavill, who we know can do. I left out some of the big names. There are some other big names in the industry that can do this. We know Stallone's big. Schwarzenegger, Tom Cruise.
No, I don't want.
Now,
I want,
younger
the
guns, maybe.
the guys that I'm looking. I want young, ready-looking action guys that look. I want them to make our heroes look like they're not shit. Whether it's people that just are
Hear me out.
huge or martial artists. I need people that are huge or that look like martial artists. Guys that look like they could kick ass. Like, I want someone like Jason Statham that might not be Jason Statham. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I did put down Statham, but he's damn near, if not as old as Daniel Craig. So I don't know how much it worked with having him under.
Some other people that aren't big martial artists, but I could see Taron Egerton, Taylor Kirsch from American Assassin. He's a little bit older. Miles Teller.
It's an interesting one. I don't know if I believe Teller is in this villain. That's my problem. I know he plays villains. I've seen it.
We know he can get big because he did a boxing movie. Gyllenhaal. And it's different because when do you ever see Gyllenhaal? You never see him play the villain, really. But also, when do you ever see Gyllenhaal not in a leading role? So putting Gyllenhaal in a supporting role is almost unheard of, but I think it could be great. Because it allows... Supporting roles allow actors to be more bold with their decisions and with their characterizations because they're not center screen. They're not the main reason you're watching. So it allows them to kind of do some different things and have some fun.
It's an interesting pick for sure. I mean, it could work. Just trying to think.
I mean, think about Southpaw. Like, we know he can get big. We know he can do it.
He can.
And he's believable. But he can also play that creepy villain. Think about Nightcrawler. He can play that creepy guy.
Here's if I had him in this movie as a bad guy, because he's basically like a henchman, top of the henchman, obviously, but like I would almost have him just not talk, like not talk at all.
The creepy guy.
The guy. I think he with facial expression, could tell his own story. To where also like you have Charlize that's gonna be able to deliver these lines and do these things. Do the people beside her need to do so much?
Yeah.
You know? So then, like, I think you need one more person that, like, obviously can do things, but, like, you know, if you want him to just be, like, say if you have John Bernthal or Damon talking shit to him or something, just quiet.
Yeah.
Just, like, it's menacing. You know? Especially
why is he not responding?
Yeah. And he looks almost like he's fucking, like, sleeping. Like, he looks crazy.
It's the twitch behind his eyes that you're watching, and you're like, oh, don't mess with that guy. Don't stop talking to him. Yeah. Another name, I think, younger, Florence Pugh. We know she can do action, but she's a really good actress. And she's younger. So.
Now, we also brought in names earlier that we want to revisit. We talked about Reeves. We talked about Cena, and we talked about Momoa.
Yeah. Momoa's your big guy. He's a big dude, and I could see him being he's You know what? I can almost see the banter between him and Gyllenhaal. If Gyllenhaal's this guy that doesn't talk, and Momoa's this like goofy, like he's that villain that never shuts up.
Yeah, I could see it. I can see it.
So now it's not even like the banter is. I could even see if we're talking about John Bernthal like berating Gyllenhaal, right? And even to the point where Momoa gets in on it, you know? And it's like, wait, aren't you with them? Why are you helping him? You know, like, nah, I agree. This guy's a total creep. Like, he never fucking talks, doesn't crack a smile, whatever. And he's just seething as he's being berated from both sides.
So, like, because especially the way that we're going about this right now, say if the people that we just named is our team, we might need to add in one more. If we have Charlize, Reeves, Gyllenhaal, Momoa, these are all people that look very different. I think they look more different than our good guys.
Yeah.
So our good guys might not be from around the world. They might be Americans.
Yeah.
But these guys,
he's pulling together a team.
They might be the best of the best from around the world.
Yeah.
You know, so that still makes our guys underdogs.
Yeah.
Type of deal. You know? So, like, you know, say if you have, you know, Dylan that's just, you know, known in the industry as the guy because he was...
Because his parents,
because he was born into it, whatever. Basically, he is Matt Damon from Oceans. But, you know, Matt Damon's later now. I mean, I want to know these people's backgrounds.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's part of the thing.
I'm trying to figure out where we pull them from. Like, I see Scott... Like, I'm trying to think how we pull this team together.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to figure it out. Because, again, I see Scott as the rough and tough, rugged country boy.
Yep.
That's the role I see. Put an accent on him and call it a fucking day. It'll be that fucking easy. But what's his background to show you that he's this guy?
I can see him, like we said, if he's ex-military, you know, he's worked his way up and he's done it. Whereas, like, O'Brien isn't ex-military, but he's had the training. You know what I mean? Like, at home. And that's the thing. He has no record to show. He doesn't have, like, a folder they pull out and, like, yeah, he was a Marine and he did this, and this. You know, so on paper, it looks like O'Brien's done nothing. You know, and Eastwood has seen his file and is like, this kid, you ain't shit.
So, Eastwood... Call him fucking Navy SEAL, Green Beret, decorated, youngest one. Yep. You know, he's out here. Bernthal, maybe I don't see him in a traditional role as being picked on the team. Maybe he's you know, like contract guy,
private contractor,
private contractor, like basically a hitman type of deal.
Yep.
You know, like he's not the bad guy, but he's doing it for the paycheck. You know, you bring him in, he's a freaking paid.
Yeah.
You know, something of that sort. So we got 3 people about covered. Damon,
I can see similar to Eastwood, but on the opposite side, instead of military, it's more.
I feel like we could have but because Damon, he's a little older now, you know.
Yep.
So he might be like, he works with Denzel now, you know.
Yeah.
Like he's the one helping like pull the team together. Like he's the trusted guy out in the field.
Yeah.
But maybe like he's been through it all. Like maybe Secret Service. Maybe.
Well, that's what I was thinking. CIA, stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, something very government.
Yep. Because he's also
very much what's going on,
and he's also looking at things from a rule book standpoint where he's had the agency's not gonna they're not gonna approve that, and you know, and Eastwood has the in the field experience of like fuck the rule book, you know what I mean, like type of deal.
He's like, there's no rules when you're getting gunned down.
Yeah.
So,
and Damon, and not to put them at total loss, because Damon's gonna be like, I understand that, I've been in the field, I also know that. He goes, but there's also a bureaucracy because he's older, he's a little bit older, so he's got the experience of like, listen, I work in the office now too, I understand how this goes.
And so then, where does Saldana come from?
Maybe they have a folder on her, they have a file on her, almost like a private contractor like Bernthal, but they've worked with Bernthal. You know what I mean? They've run jobs with him before. But what
if we made her almost like they brought her in because they need her? Like maybe her specialty isn't something you can't really find. She could be a convict.
Could be.
Because then that bringing in these people from all different backgrounds makes Damon's job harder. It makes this team harder to pull together. So you have Bernthal, who's a legitimate, justified contract killer. Dylan O'Brien, born into the legacy of whatever
Maybe
his parents
maybe
did
maybe
before.
Saldana has know-how. Maybe she's worked with some of these guys like Momoa and
She might have a
Butler or
history,
Reeves.
you know.
You know, maybe she's run jobs with them before.
Mhm.
You know, and we can kind of even see maybe a flashback of a job being run by this team, which can give us more. We can spend time with. We can introduce the villains that way. Some of these other people on the team of like, listen, you ran a job with them before. Tell us about that. Tell us what happened in fucking wherever. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
tell us about that job in fucking Rio or wherever. You know, and then she tells that story, and that's how we meet each of the. You know what I mean?
Mm. All right. So now our villains. I think we're pretty much in agreement of what we have on this list,
Mm-hmm.
and we've also taken a lot more time than I thought we would.
Yes.
So we're gonna try to get our way through this. So our captain is obviously Daniel Craig.
Yep.
His number one, who will future take over, is Charlize. What we'll figure out her motivations in a minute. Now that all of her underlings, Reeves,
Yep.
Gyllenhaal,
Yep.
Momoa.
Okay.
Saying we put all these guys from different parts, different places, different, but they're the best.
Yeah.
Now that's 4. Did you want to round it out to make the teams even?
I would put
At
Gerard
5.
Butler, and I would have him use his accent, like his natural accent, because he's always playing an American.
I'm gonna give you a time to rattle some things off. We just have to make sure it makes sense. Because I
Okay.
know this is the part you're waiting for. Cameos. I'll give you cameos.
You know, I think Jet Li's a cameo that I want. I think
You gotta be still a little reserved so that it makes sense.
Mila Jovovich, we mentioned earlier. I think she can work. Michelle Rodriguez is another one that could work. Here's a name: Russell Crowe.
What do you think, Russell Crowe? Oh no, we did Kurt Russell. Yeah,
Yeah.
Russell Crowe. Fuck, holy shit, yeah.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be mad at Russell Crowe actually. Oh, Russell Crowe.
yeah. And Michelle Yeoh, I think, could also be a
I think that's a great call. Michelle Yeoh is a great call.
now.
All right, so we have 3 cameos at least. All right, because I like those 3 for
Yeah.
sure. We have our villains. We have our good guys.
We need a director.
We need a director. Now we both, I think, have one name in the ring. I don't know if you have multiple.
I have one.
Yeah, you have one. I have one. Okay. I put David Leitch. Now
It's a great choice.
you got to me the most important thing is that. Well, there's multiple action sequences. I want to look amazing. I want action sequences that aren't just gunfights or they're not over exaggerated shit. Like I want things to look dark. I want them to look gritty. I want them to look real. I want to make these fight scenes like the fight choreography. What has to be legit? Like you're gonna watch that and it's gonna feel brutal. It's gonna feel technical. At some points, it's just gonna feel downright dirty because it's not a martial arts combat fight, but it's not a straight up gunfight. It's like somewhere in the middle where like, yeah, we're fighting, but we're also fighting for our lives.
Yeah.
This is street, so like not everything's clean and cut and everything like that. And I think he can deliver that. And I think he's also been able to give us some great fight scenes. I mean, he's partly responsible for the John Wick franchise, which that's how you can get gunfights and you can get martial
Arts.
in the same sequence, which I think is important. Then he's done Deadpool, which I think is great because you want a guy that can bring in some comedy like Momoa. You want that back and forth with characters. And again, Deadpool's fight choreography ain't nothing to scoff at either.
Yeah.
It's pretty fucking good. And he's done Bullet Train, which Bullet Train's fight sequences, they're messier. They're not as
Fun movie,
clean,
though.
but they're very fun. And those scenes where you can be in a compact space and still deliver a good fight is magical.
My choice would be Matthew Vaughn. And I think Kingsman, the church scene, is one of the best choreographed fight scenes. It also reminds me of the fight scene from Family Guy when Meg and Chris are in the cafeteria. It's just fantastic. You know what I mean? Like, it's just insanity. Um, I mean, he also did Kick Ass.
Hmm.
Um, but I think definitely like the Kingsman. It's also he's got fun. It's bright. It's colorful, and it's a lot of fun to watch this action happen.
Hmm.
Um, and he's got that new movie out coming out, Argyle, which I think it's got an ensemble cast. So
Hmm.
he's used to working with ensemble cast. He directed X-Men First Class, so he's used to having a big cast. Um, whereas I look at John Wick, and it's really just focused on the one person.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of cameos, but it's very centered on the, you know what I mean? Whereas like,
Hmm.
Kingsman has this group of people and stuff, whatever. It's not just, but honestly, I think both are top tier options. I don't really have a problem with either. Yeah, I think both are great options for director. Um, or even if Matthew Vaughn wrote it, brought him in as a writer, and had David Leitch direct.
All right. We'll leave that as one of those two. Now let's just talk general story. How is this going to run? We'll leave it up to those two. Maybe as we talk story, we might say one guy or the other, but we'll just say that we have an option for two people, whoever wants to pick it up. Now, what are we thinking about for our general?
I think Craig is maybe he's been hurt. Yeah, he's an older. They've probably fought before. He's probably fought, Denzel and Russell before. This is a guy that they know, they've had experience with. Pulling together a team to, a lot of these other people that are retired. Denzel's on his way to retirement. If he's come in for one last hurrah to kind of show them and show the world.
So what are we thinking these motivations are? Is it destruction? Is it power? Is it money? Is this a job?
I think for Craig, it's destruction.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Charlize comes in and says, it's the power. We want the control. And maybe she pulls the plug, and it ends up not as destructive.
For Craig, it might be personal because
Correct.
he has business
Correct
with.
So it's just
Denzel.
it's almost like Javier Bardem's character in Skyfall in the James Bond movie, where it's personal for him, and he's causing.
So we're going with this kind of over the top big plot to cause destruction to something, someone, somehow, somewhere.
Yeah. And Charlize pulls the plug, and maybe it ends up being not as destructive, and it's not because the heroes stopped it. She stopped.
Like maybe his plan is now leverage for
Correct
to get what she wants money, she wants power.
Correct.
Or she just is in it for something else, political things, something, whatever. Okay, so Daniel Craig is putting together a plan that would use some thing, maybe some sort of device, some sort of,
WMD.
That would attack, I'm going to guess, somewhere, I'm going to guess American soil.
Yeah.
Because it seems like all of our guys are American born in America. So we're going to be looking for some sort of fight on, like some sort of attack on America.
Yeah.
Denzel has to band together a team of people that he thinks could get this done.
Yeah. I think that's where we bring everything kind of back together.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's not, because we are all over the place, and then it's the attack happening here, and that's what brings everyone to that.
That's our guys' motivation. So that's our good guys' motivation. Is basically you're kind of fucked if you don't.
Yeah.
Which is why we have a contract killer, why we have a convict, why we have, the military guy. And
we're throwing Dylan O'Brien kind of right into it, right? Yeah, right away.
But we need
rushing him through the process. Yeah.
Okay. So we got to take care of all that. Then Daniel Craig, at some point, is overthrown by his own team as they feel he's unfit to run this mission anymore.
Yep. And I think Charlize like she plants the seeds for all that. I think she's the you know what I mean. She takes him down, but she's also already been planting seeds to the rest of the guys on the team of like
Yeah, no, they're on board with her.
yeah
They're on board with her.
through her own manipulations and everything.
Craig is outdated.
Yeah.
His plans are wrong. They seem as if they're out of an old cheesy action film. Make it an actual point to say that it seems like he wants to be a Bond villain.
But and also it's like you know, and
you built
what do we do when everything's destroyed? Where do we go? What do we have? What power do we have?
You built this.
Where are we going?
To take down this guy. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
We need to do this. You could take down the entire grid of in a major city with what you got going on, but yet you're doing this. You know? So we're going with that. So that plot twist. At some point, we're gonna bring in
Some of these cameos.
Kurt Russell, Sigourney. We're gonna have drama between Dylan O'Brien, Scott Eastwood. Have them hard to come by as a team. Maybe the appearance of Kurt and Sigourney kind of helps mend that relationship. We have cameos with Jet Li, Russell Crowe, Michelle Yeoh. Maybe people that worked with Denzel in the past. Maybe that was the team when he was fighting Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
Maybe they were people that just help along the way. People you see.
Giving them
help
supplies,
you need,
equipment, information. Yeah.
quick things that are happening. Angelina's your girl in the chair. All of them come together. And at some point, you'll give all these people their own action sequences. Little moments, pay off for the reason why they're there. We come to the climax of our movie. We're somewhere. Daniel Craig is gone. Damon and his team have to take down Charlize
And the rest of the guys.
and the rest of them.
And I think that's our big payoff. That's our big, it's our final battle.
Get down to it. Whatever the attack is, they're able to save what happens.
Yep. Whichever of those villains still survive the fight and end up locked up or whatever. And
I want to throw in John Bernthal dies.
yeah,
I think John Bernthal.
he's our tortured soul and he's our heart.
Yeah, I think he's going to be the heart. He's going to be the guy that's the most rough around the edges and the guy that comes most to being a part
Sacrificing
of
himself, for the.
I don't think it's an easy end. All cheers and go lucky.
Yeah,
everything's good. Sacrificing himself to take down Charlize and the rest.
I think just off the cuff, I think it's a pretty solid action movie that has potential, and even being reworked, I think, but there is the basis for, something that feels nostalgic and feels like something you may have seen before, but is still fresh, and giving people something a little bit different, especially with the, generational cast like this, could definitely work.
All right, so we don't need to talk your guys' ear off any more than we have. Now, this is the start of, I don't know, a plot of a made-up movie. And maybe it's something that you're into, maybe it's something you want to hear about. So, this is casting, this is general plot point, everything and all the good stuff. If you want to get more in-depth look at this, DM us, leave us some comments, tell us, and maybe we can get into another episode, or maybe this is something that, we could write out.
Expand upon. And if there's, maybe you have different options or different ideas of, no, I think you should replace John Bernthal with this character. I think they'd play that tortured soul character better. Let us know. I mean, there's a million different directions you can go, and these people are actors. They can do a million things if given the opportunity. So, yeah, if you have a underrated pick or something, absolutely throw it our way. I'd love to hear other choices for some of these people and characters.
Yep. So, if you have any other ideas or if you just want to hear more about it, let us know in the comments or DM us or reach out to us on any socials. And just on that note, that's been this episode of the Beer and Skittles podcast. Hope to see you next week.